How about Notre Dame, huh, LaVar? How about Notre Dame?
And the Flames went higher.
The Fighting Irish, a big matchup coming up September 2nd to open the 2023 season against Tennessee State. How about that?
Burns.
Scheduling.
I saw this and I got pretty excited instantly.
Another top 5 opponent for Notre Dame.
Only problem is the best player for Tennessee State will be Eddie George.
Okay.
But he'll be coaching. The only one that will probably have success against Notre Dame will probably be coaching the game. So that would be, there's that.
Yeah.
Some people might think I would tread lightly about this topic because it's my alma mater. But I'm just going to be real. I absolutely hate this. And look, there's probably some woke idiots out there who, it's an HBCU. It has nothing to do with that. This is the first time in the history of the Notre Dame football program they've played a non-FBS opponent. That's what I'm ticked off about. I hate this. If you're going to remain independent, which I don't even know if you can say that anymore since they have a soft affiliation with the ACC, and unfortunately since they've made that agreement outside of Clemson, you're not really circling many teams consistently on that calendar saying, well, here's a tough matchup. I mean, last year you could have said Wake Forest. I don't know that we're going to be saying that, for years to come. Maybe Dave Clawson's got him turned around. North Carolina was great 2 years ago, not as good last year. So they've already, at least from when I was a recruit, when I was a player there, watered down this schedule. And now, and I believe this is the case, Notre Dame next to, I think it was UCLA, were the only 2 teams to have never played a non-FBS opponent. And so this will be now one less thing that we can tout, one other way of watering down the schedule. And when we're an independent, where you don't have that 13th data point of a conference championship game, you need as tough of a strength of schedule as you can get. And I don't think that scheduling a non-FBS opponent as your season opener and then coupling it and saying, well, we're just doing what the SEC does. Because, they'll schedule a big dog, one tough non-conference opponent, and then they've got layups. Well, that's not how it works. They also have a conference championship game. Alabama can do that. Georgia can do that. They can get away with it. LSU can do that. They can get away with it. You can't sit there and schedule this and go, well, it's historic for this. I get all that. I don't care about that. This isn't about, equity and all that stuff, or trying to say, hey, we're helping out an HBCU school. It's not about that. It's about trying to win a national championship. It's about competition and looking at the rest of the landscape. What made Notre Dame unique in being independent was the fact that when you were a recruit, you would sit there and go, dude, I'm going to be on national television every week because we're playing such a hard schedule. I remember playing the Big Ten schools. I remember playing Pac-12, ACC, SEC opponents. And people always, well, you guys played Navy every year. Yeah, okay, idiot. Here's why Notre Dame plays Navy every year. Back during WW2, they used Notre Dame's facilities, which almost went under, as training facilities, and it helped keep Notre Dame alive, the university at that point, financially. And so they've had that agreement ever since. And by the way, go play any triple option school mixed in with your schedule. See how much you like doing that during the course of the year. That gives head coaches headaches every single time. So I hate this move, and really it's only good for Tennessee State. Like, they're the only winners in all of this.
What are they making off this?
Probably $1 million, who knows, or maybe $500,000. But again, like, they get paid off of it, and it's like, let's just say for example, it's the opening game of a season. There's a gigantic talent gap. What's the upside for Notre Dame? If you don't beat them by 50. It looks like all of a sudden, maybe they're not that good. You're going to drop in rankings. We know how
rankings.
Yeah, we know how that can impact. I remember my senior year, we went on the road to play Georgia Tech back when they had Calvin Johnson and a few other really good players on defense. Philip Wheeler was a good linebacker there. I remember, and that idiot, or not idiot, but the guy who's now in WWE, whatever his name is, Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah, he's the world champ, man. Double champ, too. You put some respect on his name.
Know. I wasn't watching WrestleMania.
Okay.
The point is we went down on the road, got a close win, tough environment, good football team. We dropped in the rankings. I was like, all right. And lo and behold, Georgia Tech ends up playing in the ACC championship game that year, and they end up being pretty good. I think this is a no-win scenario for Notre Dame, no matter what way you go about it. It does not help them. It does not help elevate their program. You're not winning a recruit for this. You're not winning in the eyes of the College Football Playoff Committee or the AP poll or whatever else we want to talk about in recruiting. You're not going to – you're not even competing against Tennessee State for a recruit. And then even more so than that, it's just you don't win over a guy saying, well, yeah, you get to come out and play a layup like this to open a season. It's just a dramatic departure from what it used to be, and it crushes me to see it because I feel like, Notre Dame in this instance, when it's always kind of been something of its own, is now, really trying to almost, blend in with everyone else. And that hasn't been their MO. And
especially when you open up this year with Ohio State on the road, it's kind of a big difference between the two.
I'll put it this way. You've got a rights deal that's coming up, too, for Notre Dame's home games, right? The NBC deal is coming up in 2024, somewhere around that ballpark. All right, well, if you want to get those home games up to par, up to value with what other teams are getting, being a part of a conference – you got to start scheduling tougher, bigger brands. You can't sit there and say, well, we're going to play Tennessee State. What's any network, whether it's NBC or anyone else, what are they sitting there and saying? They're going, okay, well, we're going to pay for that? That's not going to rate as high. Like, yeah, you'll get a Notre Dame audience, but no offense to Tennessee State, they're not bringing in a huge audience. You tell me this. What do you think that Notre Dame-Ohio State game, what number is that going to do?
Oh, God.
It's a pretty big number.
It's going to be a huge number. It might be the second, third most watched game this entire college football season. It's because you've got the Ohio State brand and the Notre Dame brand clashing together. And there'll be people who are just interested in general. Like, one of the biggest markets to watch Ohio State games, Birmingham, Alabama. Because Alabama wants to see what's happening at Ohio State. And no different, by the way, than what were some of the biggest numbers for the Big Ten championship game this past year? Columbus, Ohio. Because as much as they hate it, they don't want to watch Michigan go win a Big Ten championship. They're still going to watch, and there's still some Michigan fans in that proximity. So you get that sort of thing. You're not going to get that with Tennessee State. And so that's the other issue is even from a business standpoint, this doesn't help you say, hey, we're going to talk to a network about buying our home games or bidding our home games, and they're paying X amount per game. They're going to say, well, yeah, you've got Ohio State, you've got a few other really good home games, but what do we do with the Tennessee State games? What do we do with the MAC games that you've put on your schedule? That's not worth this much. So I think it even hurts them from a financial standpoint.